The Devils just robbed the NHL. Developmental process in full swing. Expect more developments and changes throughout the offseason. Implications here. Let's talk about it. Welcome in to Devils Digest. Glad you're joining us here today. We want you here all summer long. Hit the subscribe button. Talking Devils hockey. So, Devils obviously start the offseason with saying they want to make changes. They go ahead, they fire two of their assistant coaches. Obviously, they need a little bit of a replacement. That replacement is here. New Jersey announcing we have named Brad Shaw as an assistant coach. Welcome to the team, coach. Yeah, welcome is right. I love this move. Look, over in Philadelphia, gets named the interim coach after they fired John Tortorella. Goes 5-3-1, but he has a long coaching history and a pretty successful one in the role that they have for the Devils. Now, obviously, Philadelphia moves off him. They go to Rick Tocchet. Shaw, not very happy about that. I think that, Philadelphia, they had a choice to, bring him back as an assistant, but Shaw didn't really, let that happen. I think he was, a little bit annoyed and said, I've had a pretty nice track record in my position. I should get a shot as a head coach. And Philadelphia said, well, we kind of want to go with the other guy. So obviously that made Shaw available, and the Devils jumped on it, as they should have. I mean, you heard Philadelphia players, guys like Travis Sanheim, maybe not very happy that they're not going to have Shaw behind the bench anymore. And obviously pretty good news for the Devils. Now, long track record, was coach part of a bunch of organizations. The ones that stick out to me, though, when you look through it, was number one, St. Louis. Spent 10 seasons in St. Louis, 2006 to 2016. Now, why is this a big deal? Well, you look at those St. Louis teams that he was part of. When he came there, St. Louis, not so much a contender, hasn't done anything in a little bit. But they were obviously, they had the higher draft picks. They were trying to bring in players, trying to, make this team into a contending team. And you look at the players that he got to work with. A young Alex Pietrangelo, a young Kevin Shattenkirk. Both players turned out pretty well. I mean, you look at Alex Pietrangelo, he's been a top defenseman for the past, decade now. Kevin Shattenkirk had a pretty nice prime. He's pretty good with working and developing these young defensemen. I mean, just go over one more. His time in Columbus comes over 2016. Zach Werenski was just coming over to Columbus, just drafted. Seth Jones was involved in a trade. Both defensemen worked out pretty well. He has a track record of being able to develop these young defensemen, get the most out of these defensemen. And that is something that New Jersey needs critically. Because you look at the Devils' defense and you go, obviously, you know what you're going to get out of Pesce. You know what you're going to get out of Jonas Siegenthaler. Dougie Hamilton's been a top defenseman in this league. So you know what you are getting out of those guys. You know that you feel comfortable with them. Not so much in the developing process anymore. Just kind of, you know what you're going to get out of them, and they need that from their coach. Now, the ones who are going to benefit from this the most, because you go ahead and you look at that Devils defensive core. There's three names. Simon Nemec, Luke Hughes, Seamus Casey. All three defensemen, 21 years old. We're just able to get a beer in America. When you look at these defensemen and, how they've developed so far, obviously, Luke Hughes took a huge step this year. You could already argue that he is their number one defenseman. I mean, he's kind of taken Dougie Hamilton's spot on the number one power play. Seamus Casey had a nice couple of good flashes. Simon Nemec struggled, was great in the playoffs. Now, you look at where these players were. I mean, top draft picks, expected to do a lot. Devils obviously selected Nemec and Hughes in the top 5. Seamus Casey looks even better than where he was selected. So when you have these defensemen showing glimpses of being, key contributing players in this lineup. To get a coach who has had, an Alex Pietrangelo, a Zach Werenski, a Kevin Shattenkirk, and get them to that next level, it just looks like good news for the Devils. There's, with this type of signing, it was definitely for these defensemen, for these young defensemen who are developing, who are trying to get better, who are trying to be impactful in the lineup. Because like I said, you know what you're getting out of Brett Pesce. You know what you're getting out of Jonas Siegenthaler. Dougie Hamilton's been a top defenseman. You know what you're getting out of those guys. But with these younger players who've shown, glimpses of being really, really good, who have, a bright future in this league, I mean, you want to get that to the top. You want to get their full potential. Well, Bradshaw gives them a chance to do that. Bradshaw has shown in the past through his track record that he can get these defensemen, to their full potential, to be top defensemen in the NHL. And that's probably what you're looking at for New Jersey. I mean, I mentioned the other players. There is going to be a point where they are a little bit older, where their contract might come up, where they might want to make a trade, explore other options, get a little bit better in the forward group. You want to have your players at their full potential. You want to give them the best chance to succeed. Like a Simon Nemec, you drafted him second overall, figure out a way to work with him. He's struggling, figure out a way to work with him. These are those type of players, and I think from what you can see, that's the reason that they hired Bradshaw to take over as the defensive coach, because you already have pretty good personnel there. Now it's just about developing, getting these, younger players to their full potential. It definitely doesn't hurt, though, that, Bradshaw spent a little bit of time in Vancouver. Definitely doesn't hurt with, obviously, the potential of Quinn Hughes joining his brothers here in New Jersey. But when you look at this signing, I mean, I don't see anything that kind of says that it's bad. Obviously, Philadelphia, a team that struggled. He's got a little bit more work with New Jersey. He's got some, better players. Rasmus Ristolainen looks like he kind of, looks a little bit more to his younger Buffalo days. Travis Sanheim, well, I mean, he made Team Canada. So when you look at this signing in all, you got a coach who's going to help develop these young, talented defensemen, because that's what you want. You want to get their full potential. That's why you put, draft stock into them. That's why you gave them a chance this year. That's why, you keep working with them. Bradshaw, I'm very excited that Bradshaw's going to be working with these defensemen. Hopefully hit the subscribe button, because we want to be talking Devils hockey all summer long. So hopefully hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys all really soon.